Hello, everybody, and welcome to another fantastic episode of the TheCivShow podcast. I'm your host, Moy Sauce.
Raising Zozo.
And Nystagmus.
And we have a bit of a weird, not a weird episode, but a different episode. For one, Raising Zozo's here to start. Like, what is this? Like, he came
Who are
on.
these
like,
guys?
What is? Yeah, what?
Yeah, we don't see the AFK symbol.
What's going on here?
Here.
I know it's bizarre being here. I almost want to apologize to all of you who tuned in for like an actual podcast with calm voiced individuals.
Yeah, we're just gonna get started. Right
Yeah,
off
no,
that.
there's no good part of the
Second-
episode anymore. No, it's just
Second
all tainted.
disappointment
Yeah.
this week. Yeah.
It's just all dumpster fire from here.
The first being me not letting Nystagmus do a nuke. That was poor Nystagmus.
A single
Poor-
tear was shed that day, and it was
poor-
not at Germany that day. We last week sent out a feedback survey to everybody. Thank you for everybody who responded to that. We really greatly appreciate every single response. We're going to be talking a little bit about that and how we are going to change our content based off this survey.
Yeah, basically, I like that it was sort of already suggested the direction we wanted to take things, which was a little bit away from our like rivalry competitive and more into exploration of the game itself. And so I think a lot of what you, the viewers, suggested lent to that. So I think you'll be very pleased to see what is to come. And I think you'll also, with some of the ways we're going to be playing, see how we are actually, the three of us are good buddies, and any rivalry we ever demonstrate is friendly, but sometimes our acting is just too good. We role play a little too well, but all in all, we really appreciate that everyone took the time, and some of you gave us like some detailed responses, and we really do appreciate that. And rest assured, I think you'll be very pleased to see some of the new ways that we're going to switch things up a little bit in the coming weeks and months.
Yeah, so let's move on to last week's game. We played World War II reenactments. I played. Who did I play again? I played. I don't even remember who I played.
United States.
I played the United States. Yeah, I played Bull Moose
Bully
Teddy.
for
Yeah,
you.
Bull Moose Teddy. Dude, gave him the bull and I had the moose.
And
that was
that's how involved in the game you were.
Yeah.
I totally remember who you were and what you did.
Yeah.
I did a whole lot in South America.
I remember that one army you built. That was really good.
I helped you take Germany's capital over 50 turns. Yeah, do you remember that one? Oh yeah.
I did. Yes. Yes.
So yeah, let's talk about this scenario. It was a 3v3, which is unlike what we normally do. All of us were on the same team versus two deity opponents, which was the Axis power, three deity. Okay, let me start over. Three opponents, two of them were on deity, and one of them was on emperor because they didn't deserve to be on deity, which is Rome, aka Italy. They did absolutely nothing in World War II. However, Germany and Japan were on deity difficulty, and they were against America, myself, Russia, Nystagmus, and England, Raising Zozo. And I'm sure Zo has a buttload to talk about this.
I think the
game.
only thing that needs to be
Just him
said
and his magic
is
battleships.
no.
No, it's the
Come
magic
on.
vampires.
Let's be real. Let's be real here. I think the most amazing coincidental thing about that game is how parallel it ran to history. Like it was really parallel. Yeah, it was parallel, definitely.
Parallel.
Because like England was there and Germany was there and Japan was there, and that
Totally on the right spot on the map.
Oh yeah.
and then everyone knows that World War II was won by the Allies because of vampires and battleships. So it's perfect. It's a perfect rendering of World War II.
Man, I don't know if it's specifically Victoria's ability or if it's England's ability. The fact that they get their most powerful boat when they build a Royal Navy dockyard, but the fact that we started in the modern era, all districts were one turn length, right? So you got those immediately. How many settlers did you end up building just so you can get a battleship out of a city?
I went nuts with settlers. I built so many coastal. I probably had like, I don't know, 12 coastal cities, and it was just because every coastal city was a free battleship. A one turn free battleship, and that let me basically lead the war against Japan and Rome and and the Germans. So basically everybody,
Yeah.
because of battleships.
Meanwhile, me, Nystagmus, and I were in the corner just looking at a dust bunny walk across the street. Like, hey, look at that, man! Isn't that cool? Hey, look at that! Oh, England, bye, England. Do your thing. We're here. We're here for you.
Vampires, man. Vampires are powerful, powerful society. Oh my god, they were fun though. They were a lot of fun. Um, the idea of using them like from the ancient era forward, I think would be pretty neat. Just having the vampire, unkillable vampire. We could have been nuked, I guess. We didn't get that far.
No, we didn't get that far. Nystagmus, what did you do that game? That's not like an offensive thing. I actually don't know what you did, and I don't even know what I did.
I don't
So
know. So I didn't spawn anywhere near tundra, so that was awesome. It's Russia, super awesome. Most of my abilities went around that. So I just find that very because Zoe was able to build this massive army, but he was using like an exploit to do so, right? And so I'm not nailing you for using the exploit. I'm just saying but I am stating what is a fact, which is it is an exploit. And so it's one of those weird things that happens with the modern era, right? Because when you start in the modern era, your cities start with a baseline production that allows you to build districts within like a single turn. But the thing that kind of really like slows it down is the amount of science you need to get technologies after that point is the same. And so you start off with like 3 science, and so you have to like just spam settlers for the first, 20 turns of the game basically to get enough cities up to even like start putting a dent into that. It took forever to get out of that first era that we were in. And so I found where I started. So I started where Italy was, ironically. So I was Russia in Italy. And there weren't a whole lot of like luxury resources where I was.
Okay.
And so my amenities were like in the toilet.
Why
the
didn't you
entire
trade with one of us?
I remember I did.
You did?
Then
Oh.
yeah,
That's
I
weird.
did.
Remember
And
the
then-
whole
and then
wine
you guys
thing?
all didn't vote for the one thing where they got rid of the
We-
wine. Which was
I
like
did
one
vote. We
resource.
did vote for. We just lost.
voted
We
for
all
wine.
knew.
We lost.
We all knew.
lost.
Yeah. Like that's not our
Like,
fault.
I had no diplomatic favor, my friend. Vampires and battleships equates to no diplomatic favor.
Yeah, this
I
guy was a
wonder if
true
that had
warmonger that game.
I wonder if that had anything to do with you randomly saying, "Okay, guys, I want to declare war on them in 5 turns," even though there was like no need to do it that quickly.
Okay, I gave you a warning. That'll be my process. I'll give you a warning. And it was a World War II scenario. We thought World War Peace. We had to have some war.
Wait.
And I wasn't ready either, but I knew that by attacking, I would get ready.
World War Peace?
It wasn't a world, well, whatever. World Peace 2. It wasn't World Peace 2. Okay.
My amenities
World
were,
War Peace.
my amenities were pretty bad, so a lot of my cities didn't have really all that great production for the longest time, and also I wasn't getting my, I get some of the production from like the tundra tiles and stuff, and so I didn't have a single tundra tile in the entire.
Was it the balanced start? Maybe, I don't know.
And
I don't
so-
trust balance.
It was like we did do the better balanced start, yeah, but I maybe like having a true start, not true start, but an Earth kind of map is strange because usually it'll spawn new tiles to try to make up to from where you spawn to make everybody as even as possible. But on an Earth map, since like everything's kind of set where it is, it may not work on an Earth map. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
The
I don't know.
MVP unit of that game was the battleship.
The battleship.
That was,
Oh, yeah.
That was. I think it was responsible for you being able to raise the first 4 cities that you did, because you had them in like armadas already. Like you had them in armadas and like just destroying cities before steel was researched.
They got two revolts. I didn't just raise. They got 2 revolts. Okay, I'm a civilized vampire battleship master. Okay, 2 revolts, and then they get raised.
And so yeah, that was like it was just like an awesome exploit to take advantage of, though. That was pretty cool. Just like all these like fleets of battleships like moving across the map. And whereas I was having difficulties even producing like units in vast quantities because of my production issues. Most of my cities were really displeased, and so yeah, that's the hole I fell into.
My objective for that game was to try and fund the war, but I ended up not going for Owls of Minerva just because we all wanted to do something different, and then Zoe went Owls of Minerva. So I'm like, okay, I will try.
Vampires. I was vampires.
Oh, we went vampires. Sorry. So then
I was
Nystagmus went
Owls.
owls. Yeah, Nystagmus went owls. So I went for Hermetic Order again. And let me tell you that I, for the second week in a row, think it's the worst, absolute worst, especially when you're starting in the modern era because no great people are earned. The absolute worst secret society is not even close. Like it's not even a competition. I would rather have no secret society than pick the Hermetic Order. It's just terrible.
That's a bold statement.
That is
right?
really bold statement.
It's terrible. No, because then you stress over like where the hell the ley lines are, and so you're going to war when you don't need to go to war just because you need these ley lines, and you're like it just
I know,
it
though,
stresses
but
you
don't,
out. Like there's
they
no
don't
point.
hurt you, right? Like you don't need the ley line. Not having a ley line doesn't actively hurt you.
No, but
Right.
when you don't have a ley line and you need a ley line, then you're like, okay, I guess I have to go to war, and then you go to war, and then everybody hates you, then you're a warmonger, then you have no diplomatic points, and everything just
Answer your
crumbles
question
down
then.
upon each other.
Why do you need the ley line?
Because that's the entire secret society revolves around the ley line. So this is how it works. The ley lines give you.
No. Okay, I get that it's part of the secret society, right? But
Yeah.
You're saying now that I have the society, I now must get the ley lines. Like if you don't get them, that's bad luck, right? And so, but what I'm saying is, it doesn't actively hurt you. In fact, taking it could always have an upside.
Oh, okay.
I
I know what
think-
you're saying. I know what you're saying.
I think though, boy, can you tell us a little bit about the ley line, because it's the least explored, I think, of the orders so far.
Well, I actually think Void Singers are the least explored, but so the ley line, it gives you a adjacency bonus of +1 to whatever district you put around it. So that's kind of like okay, plus 1. I wish it was bigger. I wish it was like at least +2, because +1, especially in the era that it comes in, like that's the first ability you get, and it's the only ability you get. It just feels very lackluster, especially when you compare to Owls of Minerva that gets +1 economic policy card, and the second ability, which is the +1 envoy for every trade route you give to a city state. How are those two abilities comparable? They cannot be comparable. +1 to science for one campus, or +1 for every single trade route that you send out to a city state.
+1 envoy to every trade route.
That's what I said, right?
Well, I don't think you just said +1. I don't
Okay,
think
yeah, +1 on envoy, envoy, whatever. It's not comparable, right? And then you go to the Alchemical Society. It gives you plus science, and I think it gives you plus production or plus gold. I can't remember off the top of my head. I'll look it up after.
And it gives you gold.
So yeah, okay, plus science and plus gold. Honestly, all of the buildings in every single secret society feels like it's the worst thing about their secret societies, but they're all kind of even, at least. Like they all suck equally, except again, Owls of Minerva gives you that +1 trade route, and that +1 trade route can result into plus the most ideal scenario, like +40 gold per turn. The most worst case scenario, +20 gold per turn in the later game, right? So how is like plus potentially +1, or best case scenario +4 or 5 gold per turn comparable to a +20 to 40 gold per turn?
Well, the owls do have one weakness that I've discovered recently.
Okay.
Is spies.
The spies are good though.
No. When they get the bonus spies, they need them because you become a huge target for siphoning. I am playing a game right now and I'm losing like so much gold because I can't be everywhere. And they're moving around, and it's happening like every other turn. I'm losing gold, and it's like like 1,000 gold, like big quantities of gold. Obviously, the more you've got stored up too, that can be a liability as well.
So you are owls, and you're losing gold to other people's spies
Other people's
because
spies.
people
Yeah.
don't like you.
It's it's the Canadians in this particular game I'm playing. They keep doing it, and I've sent everywhere I'll send my counter spy, and they'll just go somewhere else.
Yeah, even if they
Um,
like you, sometimes they'll siphon.
Yeah,
funds from you.
so that is their weakness is
Oh, they're okay now.
stealing
Since you
your
have
money.
since you have more gold,
Since you have
you
so
siphon funds.
much,
You get more gold
yeah,
from them. Okay,
yeah,
I
you're gonna
understand.
you're
I
gonna end
understand.
up
And I think there's a higher success rate.
I have no
if
idea.
there's more money, maybe, but like
Yeah.
siphoning funds in general is not it's like 70.
It's
4%
like the
fail
best
rate or
of offensive
something.
ability,
Or
offensive mission
yeah,
you can do.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
Which is
a big
really
weakness.
weird,
Okay, I never
right?
thought about that.
Like that's weird, right? Like it's the most successful one. Like think about it in real life, right? Like, hey man,
Okay.
I'm gonna like spy on the Federal Reserve, and by the way, just steal $500 billion. No one's gonna know. Like, no one's
Versus,
gonna catch that. No one's gonna stop me, right? Like,
It's-
it seems like a really weird one to have a high success rate, right? Like,
it's true. Stealing a great work is harder. Even reducing the loyalty is harder. Getting rid of the governor, I think, is harder too. But I mean, how are those really comparable?
really in the
IRL.
modern, I can see that being harder earlier on. But what would be really cool is if foment on rest became easier as like you went into the modern era because of like social media and the internet and stuff,
Oh,
Yeah.
right?
that'd be
Like
So
cool,
you
yeah.
can spread
there might
misinformation a
be
lot quicker.
there might be.
Um,
We don't usually get to the modern era, but
No, there's not.
I noticed
Spies
No,
are
I noticed
really
there-
stagnant.
there's some
They
interesting ones.
Yeah, it's like kind of the same success rate. I always siphon funds.
I
when
always
use
siphon
spies.
funds. It's like the
Yeah, it's
most
like
consistent one. Sometimes I'll do the governor one just to piss people off,
oh, I hate when people do that.
right?
When someone eliminates one of my, and they never say like they just say eliminates a governor. I'm like, that's a really a big euphemism for you assassinated my governor, and now I have to wait for them to be able to be reassigned.
But the funny part is sometimes you forget that you
They
need
did
to
it, yeah.
reassign it, and so like even if you like assassinate it for 5 turns, sometimes it lasts like 20 turns because you just completely forget about
You
it.
forget.
And you're
Because it's
like, oh
forget.
shoot.
That's an error.
That's one of the reasons why I do. It's just sometimes they forget to bring it back, and so like it could be way more worth it if that's the case, right?
Does the computer forget?
No, the computer won't forget, but like
Oh, okay, I'm just
for
kidding.
us,
Computers-
it doesn't.
Computers don't forget. That's what they are. That's their
Yeah,
memory.
right. So if you don't
machines.
assign a governor to a place, it doesn't tell you that you need to assign a governor. It only tells you when you have a title to appoint, right? So it doesn't restrict you from ending your turn. So you can just keep ending your turn and you have no idea. Then you finally notice an exclamation point. And you're like, oh shoot! Like he's been doing nothing this whole time.
I hope that I don't know. I don't know if a new governor is planned to be released, but with all of the heavier focus on diplomacy and espionage, I think a spy governor, like an actual like I think one of them does something for spies, but like an actual spy governor would be really really neat. And we'll see. I actually don't recall. I know there are many new things coming out, but I don't know if a new governor was among one of the things
I'm
announced.
not sure either. We will talk about that. Maybe we'll do a little bit of research and we'll talk about it in the second half.
Future, yeah.
Or second half, like a second third of the podcast. So we're gonna take a little bit of a break, but don't go anywhere because we will be right back. Once I hit the button, there we go. Welcome back to the Civ Show podcast. I forgot to mention this last time. We suck, so you don't have to. Let's talk about secret societies, a little bit more about secret societies, but specifically the strategies that you can bring into every society. So we all have a little bit of experience with each society, some more than others. We kind of already talked about the Hermetic Order a little bit and how strongly I feel against them. But maybe there's some other opinions on the board. I don't know if you guys have any different opinions on the Hermetic Order or not.
I hate giving an opinion for something I haven't tried, and with the amount of hate that Moy's been throwing them, it makes me very curious to see, are they bad or is he just using them wrong?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Especially since their initiation is probably arguably the hardest of them. Finding
the
a natural wonder.
Yeah.
You're guaranteed that there are natural wonders out there, but like you got to go and you got to find them. The other ones are like just a given. You're gonna go into a goodie hat. You're going to get an envoy from a city state. You're going to defeat a barbarian.
The funny thing is, those are only chances that they'll come to you after that, whereas the Hermetic Order is 100%. Yeah.
Fair enough. So, so far they don't sound fantastic. In fact, after being the vampires, the ley line kind of sounds like the castle, and the castle sounds better because
the castle's way better.
Yeah.
Because it's instant, and you get it as soon as right from the start. Yeah.
To be honest, though, like I kind of always felt that Moy would like the Hermetic Order because you're so science-based usually, and so now it's almost like, hey, you like building campuses. Well, here's a campus that also gives you gold and production and great people points. Because you also go for cultural victory quite a bit.
Yeah,
too,
but
right?
if it didn't rely on the ley line, like the fact that it gives like bonus great people points is awesome, but I feel like in order to be this secret society and use it effectively, you need to play a civ that already has a great person bonus. Brazil would be a very good one because their festivals give you great person points. Scotland with their bonus and great scientists, Congo with their bonus and great people as well. Russia would be okay with it as well. If you don't take Void Singers with Russia, it's just like it's too niche. I feel like it's too niche, the secret society.
That it looks like a lot of its powers are based around the ley line. Makes it tricky because if you only get one ley line, but in that sort of scenario where you get like two or three, and I've looking at other people's games, I've seen ones where it seems like a couple, like I saw one game where they got like two beside each other and a third one not too far. Maybe then, that's the gamble, is they can be ridiculously powerful.
They can be. They very well can be. It's just like it's the chance, right?
Yeah.
It's the roll of the dice before you even know where they are, right? The both times I've played, I had one right beside my capital, which is awesome. But then in the Earth game and the game we just played last week, the second one, it was in North America, not even close to me.
Like the Acclimatal Society is like a pretty awesome building, though.
It looks really cool visually. It looks awesome.
Oh, but like it is an awesome building. It's +4 science, +2 production, +1 housing, +1 citizen slot, +1 great scientist, great engineer, and great merchant point per turn. Grants gold equal to the adjacency bonus of the district.
So the only difference between that and the university is the adjacency gold, the plus production, I think you said, and then the engineer and the merchant point. That's the only difference. Everything else is exactly the same.
There are great people. Well, wait. Yeah, they don't normally. You don't normally get a great
engineer and merchant. Engineer and merchant are the unique ones that you get from the Alchemical Society that the university doesn't bring, because the university would only give you that great scientist point, but it also gives you the citizen and the housing and the +4 science. Like that's all of that a university brings, right?
Yeah. Well, so far, powerful or not, they seem the least versatile.
Yeah.
And for me, versatility is generally more important than power.
Especially in Civ, when anything can change, right?
Mm-hmm.
At any moment, like suddenly you have, let's say we're playing Apocalypse mode and a meteor strikes down on your capital. You're like, oh well.
It seems like a pretty good one to have if your Civ's already science based, though.
If your
right?
Civ is science based, or if your Civ is great
It's
people.
great
I
people
think.
based. It's great people based. Yeah.
Well, again, I haven't seen them successfully used. I don't know how big of a science bonus we're talking about. Like, is a ley line like 15 science
If you get
that it's
15
giving you?
great people points or 15
Right,
like
right.
great scientists, I think that also great generals and admirals give you science as well. So
So this is like you want divine spark. There's probably some religion that are going
Oracle, you want to get Oracle,
But
you want
it
to
does
do your
seem
city
like something.
projects. Yeah.
It does seem like something though that you could utilize it to snowball,
Yeah, I think that
right?
like I think a Civ
Like,
like the
does it?
Germans.
Do you also get it if you have a lot of faith and start buying great people?
You need a
Yeah,
lot of faith to buy
maybe
great people.
they're
That's the
great
But
thing.
people.
if you
Like you
get it,
need
if you get it right
thousands and
away,
thousands of
but if you,
faith.
but if you get it right away, and if you can get it with purchasing great people and earning them, like you can strategically earn cheap great people to purposely jack up the ley line,
Fair.
right?
But then you
Yeah,
don't
I
get
think
it until
that's
the
the idea.
industrial era.
But that's the idea is you get, and then in the industrial era, it backtracks, right? It
Yeah,
looks at
it does backtrack. Yeah, it
right.
does. Yeah.
So I could see that being cool. I am actually now curious to the point that I'd like to give them a go. I think that the +1 adjacency bonus, that's nothing to laugh at. Like one
Okay.
of now my new favorite tactics is adjacency bonus like with Tundra. So if I had a +6 adjacency for Tundra, if I got a +1 to that and that became a +7, now if I can get my work ethic, that's 7 production, which goes to 14 production when I get scripture. So a +1 I don't think is anything to laugh at.
But
In
you already have, but like you already have +6, right? So
you
the ley line, like at least in my scenario, was never beside a mountain. So it's like I can put my campus beside a mountain for +3, or I can put it beside the ley line for +1. What would you take?
ultimately though, if it is classified as an adjacency bonus, because adjacency bonus can be multiplied, can be doubled, like a +1 ultimately can be a big bonus, especially if there's several of them throughout your empire.
Okay.
And then
Okay. What?
if it's encouraging you to build districts, like I don't know, I think adjacency bonuses are big. I'm increasingly using +100% adjacency
I'm
bonus
not.
for.
Yeah, I'm not saying that they're not big. I'm saying +1 isn't enough. Either have it +2 or +1, and every district you build beside it is 50% production cost. That would be good.
If it was +2, I would say for specific districts. If they said for like these 3 districts, you get +2. I think +1 for all districts. I think that's pretty good. A +1 for all districts. There's some districts that are really hard, like the drama theater square hex hub is, I find, genuinely hard to even get a +1. A +1 is good with the theater hub. So I don't know. I don't think a +1 is necessarily something to laugh at.
It's kind of equivalent though to putting a government plaza inside all of your districts. That's the same bonus. So it's essentially every civ has this bonus by just putting a government plaza in the middle of all your districts.
I feel like the army was like, it's not OP, so it sucks.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm saying that like from a consistency, like all civs use districts. Okay, and there's certain civs that I'd be interested to see this with. Civs like Germany, where they get extra districts, and extra districts means more great people. So I think that's still interesting. Okay, I'm gonna try them out. Then I'll be the judge.
Okay, so let's move on to the owls. I think someone that we all have a lot of experience in, right? I don't even know if there's any specific strategy to this. Just trade routes to city states, like that.
Of course,
That's it.
Of course, there's still
Okay, Mister. I take owls every game except last game because I didn't want to, but you should have, or not that you should have, but you would have, but you were like, no, I need to do something different.
Here's the irony that I find with owls is that they support 2 types of victory conditions. I think the owls support domination, and I think the owls support diplomatic.
Mhm.
I think that you can do either one of those fairly easy with the owls, because ultimately you can have a big army that you can actually fund and support, okay, with your consistent gold and just buy. You're going to have lots of buddies, because you're going to have a bunch of city states that are your friends. So when you go to war, you have them, you can leverage their units with all that gold that you've been earning. Okay, which makes it really ideal, especially for like Hungary or something
Hungry,
like
yeah, that's the first one that came to
that.
mind. Yeah.
Yeah. And you have all these buddies, and you're gonna win. So like you end up getting so many diplomatic favor.
I think he cut out. He cut out.
Yeah,
Okay.
he did cut
He
out.
cut out. Instead of him not showing up for the first half of the session, he cuts out in the middle of it. So the AFK screen comes back.
Although I just pointed out while we're waiting for Zoe to reconnect, VectorCat does mention that the +1 adjacency bonus can, if it's the difference between say +2 and +3, right? That can be a huge deal, right? It's how many you get access to. That's the big gamble.
But even then, like
because-
that +2 and +3 is like that's the randomness that your ley line for a campus, for example, spawns beside a mountain. Like it's
or near
it's,
one,
or near one, yeah, or near one, yeah,
right?
yeah.
But the other thing too is I kind of feel like maybe your opinion would have been different if you just didn't have the bad luck. Like, what if I did it when we played the Ethiopia game, and apparently I had ley lines like all over the
Yeah,
place.
that would have been crazy.
Um,
But
so-
the origin of my hatred comes from the inconsistency, which I hate inconsistencies.
Right. And so before Zoe, saying having a lot of buddies with trade routes and stuff like that, I can see it how it would be a disadvantage in some civilizations. Like, it wouldn't make much sense. Well, it just nullifies one of Germany's benefits of having like plus combat strength in city states. If you're trying to make them all your friends, then that kind of just eliminates that.
True,
that ability.
true.
But you
Okay.
can't make
Right.
all of them your friends, especially if somebody else is the same order.
Owls, you
which-
mean? Or owls?
Owls, yeah,
Yeah,
you're gonna
yeah.
they're also doing the same thing. Or if you're playing against like the United States or something like that. But yeah, Germany might not be the best one. But it's fascinating that diplomacy is a viable victory condition with them because
Now,
there's so much diplomatic.
my main strategy with the owls would be I like to abuse trade routes to make the new cities I found expand quicker.
Yes.
So what I will do is if I have a certain amount of settlers ready, I'll try to time the settling of the cities when the trade routes are ending, when I have to reestablish them, and then I'll just move them to the new cities and then reestablish a domestic trade route to give that extra
Yes.
production and food
Yes.
boost, allow them to grow faster. And
Such
with
a
owls,
beautiful tactic.
with owls, you can, like, if you are near the sea, you can, like, I think I got to 12 trade routes with Russia without breaking a sweat, and that's after like half my city's flooded and I lost my stuff like that. So, and then with another game I played, I got up to 16 trade routes before the industrial era. It was pretty easy.
Well, that's pretty crazy.
If you just spam harbors and the gilded vaults and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Now you take that as a hit against something like culture or science. You have to sacrifice one of those two things in order to do that.
I will counter that when you're done.
Okay, I'm just, in my experience, that's what's been happening, and I tend to let culture suffer more than I did science, just so I can keep up scientifically wise. But
It's funny though, with all those trade treaties, you can take the policy card, the +1 science, +1 culture for trade routes, and I
Those are only for international trade routes, which I don't
an international trade route is any trade route that is not domestic.
Oh, so even city states.
Yeah, even
Okay.
city
Okay,
states.
okay. So, so to counter the fact that you have to sacrifice science and culture at the beginning of the game, yes. However, when you are later in the game, so I had a game I just played as the Maori on a true start location Earth because I wanted to have a little bit of fun, and I picked the Owls of Minerva. So since I was the Maori, I was near a lot of coasts, so it was very easy for me to get both a harbor and a commercial hub. So getting 2 trade routes per city. When I was getting new cities on the mainland in like Asia and Australia, I would then either get the financer, upgrade the financer to the last ability, which is to purchase districts with money, and I would have so much money. I was getting over 1,000 gold a turn. So it was so easy for me to settle a new city, put the financer in there, wait 5 turns, buy whatever the heck district I wanted after that, and just go from there. And then after I buy the district, buy every building from it. So let's say I wanted to have a science city, buy the campus, buy the library, university, research lab, done. Plus 20 science right there on one city on 5 turns max. So like once you kind of get yourself established, it's so easy. You don't even need to do these domestic trade routes
There
anymore. You can
there's
just set
a
up your cities that way.
there's a narrow window of that. Like it's narrower than you think, because if remember, everything snowballs, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if you fell far enough behind, it may not be enough to boost you up to catch up,
Okay, fair. But
right?
I feel like you'll make enough money with them in your, at least in your capital and maybe your first couple of cities, if you prioritize right. You pick science or you pick culture. You pick one of them just to keep
And
up, and then you catch up later in the other
and
one.
like how you said with the Hermetic Order, if you leave for that strategy, it may force you to declare war because it requires you to expand.
Yeah. Okay.
Right, you need land to expand. If the land isn't available, then you have to make it available. And so it depending on how much more of an edge the other combatants have on you, that may or may not be easy. And so I'm just saying that you're right, you can do that. It is a really good strategy. I'm just saying the window for opportunity there where it would become not possible or very difficult to pull off closes at a certain point.
Okay.
And so it does mean that you are still playing pretty aggressively, right? Like
Yeah.
you're doing this, you're getting a lot of gold, and then at one point you just expand massively to catch up in science and in culture. And so it does look aggressive from the outside looking in, right? Like if I was
Okay.
playing
Okay.
you, it would seem you were playing very aggressively.
That
Um,
okay. That's fair. Uh, it's crazy though, because like in order to counter the owls, you can either take over the city states or you declare, everybody declares war on the person who has owls. But then at the same time, you still have a ton of trade routes, and you can still domestic trade, and it's still really good.
They're just
like
so versatile.
I honestly
They're
think
just
like
so
one of the things that
versatile.
gets nullified is if I were Germany and Zoe were owls, I can nullify his abilities just simply by using one of my abilities to eliminate city states that are near me.
Yeah, but the domestic trade routes still, and the
Yeah,
plus economic card, and the plus wild card, and the plus
yeah.
spies, and there's so much more to them, right?
I don't know. I'm just saying, but you can counter some of their other
You
You
abilities.
can,
yes, yes.
yeah, like I said, with spies is another way, but yeah, you can definitely do it. But just that, and even what you were saying, Nystagnus, I was doing. I was like, this is so sweet. I moved like 5 trade routes to one city that I just built, and I'm like, domestic trader, and it exploded in population and production. So it's just so versatile what you can do with trade routes.
So let's move on
That helps
to.
you get flood barriers up later on too, because you just move the trade routes to the places that are having more trouble with it.
That's
You know?
true. That's true. Let's move on to the Void Singers. Probably one that
Mm.
I have zero experience in, so I am only theory here. I don't have any practical experience with these guys. I think Zoe, you're the only
So
one who has experience with them.
I've used them a couple now. I haven't gotten to their final master plan. Actually, even the one that reduces loyalty sounds so cool. What I will say though, what I really do like about them, speaking to Snowball, is the old obelisk as your monument. Like it's the
How good
first
is that?
building
That sounds so
every
good.
civ can build,
Yeah.
and it gives you 4 faith, and it also gives you a great work slot, any great work slot,
Hmm.
anyone at all. So there are sometimes you might get like a writer or something by a fluke like early, and you're like, I can't do anything with this, right? Every city can hold one with them, and because of that snowball effect, like because you're building it in the classical era or in the ancient era, um, and +4 faith is nothing to laugh at for a free building inside your city.
And
uh,
then I really like their ritual.
Yeah, the second ability. Yeah.
Which if
Yeah.
you're a
yeah, of
faith-based
course.
civilization, every other thing that's a gold, culture, and science, you get 20% of the faith production as an addition, and that's like we said, if Ethiopia got that,
Yeah.
right?
It's
Yeah,
funny
got
how like
that.
from they reward a one-dimensional play style, and then they make you multi-dimensional, right?
Yeah,
That's what's
yeah,
so like crazy
literally.
about
I
them.
love that's a great way of looking at it. That you're literally opening a portal to
Hey, you
another
like faith? Hey, you want faith? Here's some faith. Here's some more stuff on top of the faith that you have now.
Good job for
Let me
building faith.
tell
We really
you.
like you. Yeah.
Let me tell you about our Lord and Savior Cthulhu.
Oh, I thought you were about to go into a traveler spiel there, and I
No,
was I
no,
was about to like
no,
kick you out of this call so fast.
no.
We wait long enough, maybe Discord will just drop them.
Oh, maybe.
I haven't told this traveler story in months, so
Oh
don't you
well,
worry.
let's.
It's coming though.
Oh,
It's coming.
there's not enough new people to say this the origin story of the Traveler yet. Okay, once we get to like 20 viewers, then maybe you can go back to telling your Traveler story.
And then we go back to 5 years.
But yeah, so you mentioned that you never even got to the cultists yet. I think it's from what I don't know how much loyalty they make lose. That doesn't make any sense, but you know what I mean. I think is it 20 or it's between
10.
It's 10. Oh, so then later on in the atomic, when you do that city project, then it increases
You can do
to
it 3 times.
Generate.
Okay.
You can make relics too, though. That's I think the more critical thing. So if for your religion, if you take the triple yield on relics, so there's a couple civs that like the Congolese. I'd love to see these with. I'd love to see them with Lunaro, Lunaro
Colombia.
of
They're,
the Mapuche.
Okay,
their
but
maintenance
that's not a
costs are
lit.
pretty
What?
high, though.
The Mapuche. So the
Okay.
Mapuche.
Yes, Mapuche. Yes, the Linero is a Colombian unit, which is what
No,
really
but their
confused me.
name, the name of their leader is like Linero or Latero.
Oh yeah. Okay, you're
Very
right. Okay,
close.
okay.
They're
Fair,
very, very
fair.
close.
Pass.
But just the loyalty attack, or
Yeah.
with France, they're with Eleanor. There's a couple that just to be a silly like, let's see how much loyalty damage we can cause.
So if you have like 2 or 3 cultists, even with Eleanor, if you're not taking over the city with your loyalty, you're at least making it so that it increases slower. So if you reduce their loyalty by like 30, 40, 50, and they're only increasing by like 5, 6, 7 loyalty up, you're really hurting that city's growth and production, and like that hurts.
Going to slow them down. It
Yeah.
could cause unrest. It could cause rebellion. It could cause units to appear. Right. It's interesting though with these secret societies. It seems that each one has a couple civs that in particular totally break them. Like the Americans to the Owls.
Oh, that one's the most. It's
Eleanor,
so broken.
Eleanor did this one because I'm pretty sure Great Works and Relics, right? So if Eleanor's already giving
It's
you a
all
minus
all
by
great
having
all great works. So it would
Yeah.
I would imagine it include relics. Yeah.
Well, I have to
So-
mention that cultists are expensive too, right? Like,
Well, if it's
their-
purchased
their
with faith,
maintenance-
right?
No, but their maintenance cost is expensive.
Oh, is it?
It's 4. Yeah, it's 4 gold.
Four, yeah. Four
By
is a
the
bit
industrial era, 4 is about average, right? So
Mhm.
like even cavalry is 4 maintenance, and that's in the industrial era. So that's the mean, the average maintenance cost per unit, pretty much in that era. So it's not like more expensive than it should be.
And I would compare them like to it's expensive in the sense that it's expensive for a faith purchased unit that isn't a combat unit,
Yes. Okay. Fair.
right? Because
So
missionaries and apostles, they
Don't-
don't have maintenance costs.
Yeah. Yeah.
this is pretty awesome. Okay, I didn't know they had this. So they have dark summoning. So you can. This is a special project that a city can build, and it provides lots of faith every turn. Upon completion, it increases the amount of loyalty damage done by cultists by 2 to a maximum of 30. So you do 15 dark rituals, and you end up having that every time that they attack, they're giving minus 40 loyalty per charge.
It's so crazy.
That is
Now,
insane.
The thing that would
Literally, it's
the
madness.
thing that would make them like super OP, right? Like the one thing I want to know is if I'm not at war with you, can I kill your cultists?
Probably not.
Like,
No,
like-
you'd
like,
have
it's
to
like a
are
religious.
they-
It's like a religious unit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes that sucks.
Yeah, they're like religious unit.
And Vector Cat mentions you don't keep cultists around though. You send them out to die.
Yeah. So the
So you don't pay
maintenance
for-
cost.
Yeah, you don't pay for the maintenance that much. But I'm just pointing it out. It's one of those things that makes it kind of unique, right? Like it has a maintenance cost as opposed to like other units that are faith based, right? That you
When it's killed or uses all of its charges, you get a relic. Oh man. So that seems very exploitable. And there's a couple civs in particular, and there's a couple wonders in particular. Now, mind you, you gotta have room, but if you've got your Cthulhu monument up, every city's got at least one. So that's really, really interesting. I'm intrigued to try these.
I
guys out.
really want to try them too, and I'm really disappointed in myself that I haven't. Lastly, and probably the last topic for this podcast as well, the vampires. So, vampires are. I mean, right when I heard about them, I'm like, they're gonna be the best secret society, and they're up there. They're up there with owls to compete with the best secret society, in my opinion. When I learned about these castles and what they do, and they actually provide like the yields to your capital, once I heard that, I'm like, okay, they're the best. Like, it's over. There's no way you can compete with these vampires. How did you feel with them, Zoe, the last game?
Oh, oh, mwah. I still think they're super hokey,
Of
and
course.
all about magic. Although I really wish that the castle sound of moving your guy was like a
I gave
like a
that feedback. I
teleportation.
gave that feedback to their Twitter. So
Nice.
hopefully, I'll credit you. We'll credit you for that if it
Or a
happens.
bunch of bats, like
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
that'd be
it'd
sick.
be such a simple modification. Now I got them in the modern era, so I accumulated them rather quickly, and it's why I ended up. I was like, well, I'm going to war. These guys are great.
Hmm.
Um, and I think what I really loved about them is they seem to be a high target for the enemy, and every time they pillage, no matter what they pillage, they heal. And if they pillage food, they heal
100.
100%.
Yeah, it's so crazy.
So because I was doing heavy siege, like everybody had lots of fortifications, I was pillaging, and they were beautiful. They're just going around pillaging stuff, and
Well,
then
they also I like this
using the
intimidation,
capital.
right? By the
Yeah,
industrial era, like
you get everyone
intimidation.
around
They
you is
reduce
there.
the combat
Oh
strength by
yeah,
4.
I totally forgot about that. Oh my
So
god.
I wasn't joking when I said I won with vampires and battleships. That's how I won that game. Um, they were the bulk, the vanguard of my army. They did a lot of the heavy lifting at first, along with all the free battleships. I do want to try them though from an earlier era and see how they do. And then the master plan, that was fun. That was like being able to instantly set up a new base of operation
Yeah, in another
across the
continent.
ocean.
Yeah.
That's super fun.
That makes
Uh,
continents games like way more achievable to win a domination victory.
Way more, way more. Um, and like I didn't use it effectively because I had to like land in Alaska because Moy destroyed my
I
castle
didn't
that was
know that's how that
perfect.
worked. So like now we
I
know,
know.
right? Now we know.
I know. It makes sense. It makes
Yeah,
sense that
it
it can't
does.
operate
Yeah.
in enemy territory because that's a way to kill it then, right? Is if
Build a
I
city
buy
beside
the
it.
land,
Yeah.
yeah, it'll disappear. It's no longer neutral. Um so yeah, I just found them war provoking too. You wanted to attack. You know, you didn't want to wait for your allies to finally build units. And what I loved about that game is you guys just gave up and stopped building units. Well, you did more. The Stagnus helped a bit in the war against Japan.
I
So yeah,
built a battleship, and that was pretty much it.
I really and the castle yield was crazy. That was awesome. Like I obviously wish I'd asked my question 30 seconds earlier, but I was being polite and letting Miss Agnes finish his thought, and then our turn ended, and then I did it, and I was like,
Mm,
oh, okay. So yeah, they get if you build them right, you'll get 6 yields that will combine into one square.
mm-hmm.
They combine everything, and then I think if you build another castle elsewhere, it sends yields back. I
It
think for
sends it to your
special.
capital.
Oh,
It
to the
sends it to your
capital.
capital. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's an automatically
Um,
worked tile by your capital.
well, when you told me about the ley lines, I'm like looking at the amount of food and production that I was getting, and I think culture and gold. It was ridiculous. So I was like, this is like a ley line. It feels like a ley line that you can build wherever you want, which seemed a little lame. I just don't know if you could have 2 in the capital.
The most ideal like castle in my head right now is if you had a coastal city and you built the uh, I don't know what it's called, the water Petra. You know what I'm talking about when I say the water Petra. Um,
Mhm.
the you build
Mausoleum.
mausoleum, yeah, the mausoleum at Harkassis or something. Then you build a harbor, obviously, so you boost all your coast tiles, and then you get like the shipyard and the lighthouse and the seaport. So you have like +3 food, +2 production or 1 production, and +3 gold in every single coast tile. And then there's a singular island tile, and you build the
Yeah,
castle right there, and you
right
get
there.
like
Yeah.
so many yields and so many different uh
The Maori might
things.
be really
Oh my
good
god.
with them.
Yeah, right? Like
They
which
might
is
be really good.
hilarious that the Maori would like go to
The
war.
vampire
But you wouldn't
Maori.
even have to go to war. You
Yes.
don't even have to go with the vampires. Just have them as defense. They don't need to upgrade because they're already the best unit in your empire all the time. And then you just have the castles to work your capital, and their capital's already super buffed, right? And they're just gonna
And
get even stronger.
that they get 50 health for anything they pillage, except for roads. So if they pillage a library, they're getting 50 health, and you're getting whatever science.
Yeah.
And if you pillage a farm, they're healed to full. That is such a harassing, annoying unit. Like, you pretty much have to kill the vampire, though. You gotta throw that stake through its stake,
Oh my
because
god.
and send them back to the capital.
It's a high staked secret society.
Nice. But no,
Super
super
high.
cool. I like them a lot. Still hokey.
Yeah, it's always gonna be hokey. There's always gonna be a magical secret society. Overall, which one? Not necessarily which one's the best, but which one is your favorite? Okay, finish your
Sorry,
point. Sure.
the one last little comment that I really liked was when I got my killer death robot. Then my vampires were really good because they all got the power of my killer death robot.
Which is hilarious if you think
They
about
get
it.
the best power.
Yeah, but it's hilarious because then a vampire could potentially kill a robot, but then a robot
killer
isn't a
robot.
human, so like how is it gonna kill I don't know. That doesn't
That
make any
is
sense.
also very broken. The killer robot's main freaking holdback is it costs not just like 1 uranium. I think it's
3 uranium per
three.
turn.
handful of uranium. Yeah.
Yeah.
Vampire don't need no uranium. It just needs to look at the robot and be like, yeah, I can do that.
It's like a mimic, right? Just inherits whatever.
It's the only thing is
whatever's
that
there.
the robot's probably faster.
I just
Yeah.
imagining that it's just a techno vampire. Like it's just imagine a vampire but has tech, and it's just that's always what it is. Like it's a vampire with a long sword.
It's
So
like
obviously it's gonna be better.
It's a cyberpunk vampire. It's like
Yeah.
augmented with like bionic arms and
Bionic arms,
Yeah.
whatever it is that you've got.
So let's disregard which one the best one is. Which one, we're going to start with the Stagmus, is your favorite secret society to play, and why?
So far, just with like my limited experience with all of them, because I haven't played them all yet. I think that the owls just kind of plays to my play style. I like trade routes. I go for them as many trade routes as possible. Like, I always like whenever I talk to you, both of you guys playing a game, like, hey, how many trade routes do you guys have? And I'm always like blown away that you have like 3, and I have like
Shut up.
8. It's like a singular focus for me is to build up trade routes so I can one. I also kind of use them to build roads all over the empire instead of building like the military engineer. I know that's bad. Like I should be building more of those military engineers and stuff. but I
I've
kinda
never built a military engineer in any game ever.
Okay, well, I do use them to sometimes I purposely
They are
choose routes simply to build roads in specific areas so I can move units faster.
Okay.
And so just the ones that if it gives me all these extra trade routes, that in itself makes them really fun to play for me.
I only haven't played the Void Singers. Owls were a lot of fun, but by like the Atomic era, it just kind of got a little stale in terms of their gameplay for me because like it was kind of too easy. Like it became too easy. Hermetic Order, we already know. I wish it burned and died. And then the vampires, however, are incredibly fun. I maybe because I enjoy war, right? Like I think war is a lot of fun.
I
But
feel like there's a balancing act that Moy has to have. It's like it's too OP, not OP enough. Where's the balance? Something is too easy.
but that's what I said in terms of like not how good it is, just which one do you enjoy the most. And so for me, vampires having like it's more interactive. You have to go to war. You need to kill units, and you need to strategically place where your vampires are to dying units beside them to make them even stronger. And then like that's kind of like the fun part about it is that it's always it's more interactive. Like you have to do more things to make these vampires good. That's what I like about it.
Obviously, hands down, owls. I loves me extra policy cards. I loves me wild cards. and it loves me gold. So these are like all of my favorite things in one complete package. I do agree with Moy that like later on it gets a little boring. It's like, oh great, I've got 20 trade routes and I'm winning on all these levels. The vampires are though hella fun. They are hella fun, and I think after I've tried them a little more, maybe I'll agree with be more on that. But for now, the owls, hands down.
Fun fact: did you know you can name your vampires?
You can name all your units.
But you can name your vampires, and that's even cooler. Just stay tuned on your future names of these vampires. Anyway, that's going to be
one interview with a vampire. You just name one interview with a vampire. That's it.
one interview with a vampire.
It's a movie.
Oh, well, you can call it Edward.
Brad
You can
Pitt?
call it. You can call it Dracula. You can call it Raising Zozo. I don't know, whatever you want, right? So, yeah, that's all the time we have for today. We appreciate everybody coming to and listening to the podcast. Are there any final words out of you guys? Oh, what are we doing next week?
Oh yeah,
we
how
can
about
talk
that?
next week's game,
How
man.
about
Come on.
I'll tell you something. I know how much our viewers love hearing my voice. So I won, and so I've chosen a cool game. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to do an eight Civ game. So it's going to be us three and five other computer opponents. We're not going to be on the same team, but that doesn't necessarily mean we won't be working together because computer AI is a lot like goblins. You know, even times of conflict, the common we got to come together and kill them. Okay, that's a lame Lord of the Rings comment. But yeah, we're going to do continents. We're going to do an 8 Civ game. We'll vary the AIs between deity and emperor, and then each of us is going to use the kind of our favorite win or our favorite play style Civ. So I love gold. Gold's every game I play, I want to have as much gold as I
I
can.
love gold.
So I will be playing Mansa Musa of the Mali. Mansa Musa of the Mali.
That'd be fun. I like him.
They're so
He's
fun.
fun.
There's
Yeah.
so much gold. I love it.
He's fun. And I
Did you hear about Mansa Musa, like what he did when he went on his like travels?
Gave away gold.
Just as a side, so he had so much gold that whenever and he used to always travel with a massive entourage. So when he would move to go to a local area, he brought so much gold that he would collapse the local gold prices because of how much gold he brought.
I did hear that. Yeah.
So like
crazy.
local gold prices would plummet because of how much gold that he would bring into the local economy.
Inflation.
Just an aside, yeah.
Crazy to think how rich he was. Just insane.
Richest person in
He's the
history.
richest,
In history,
richest
yeah,
person
yeah.
in
In
history.
history, richest
Yeah.
person in history if you adjust for inflation.
Yeah, it's so insane. So as everyone or may not know, I love the science game. I love focusing on science. So I will be playing, finally, I've never played these people before, Korea. And I'm going to be building all of those, whatever the unique name for this campus is, all over the hills and getting the
Railgun.
plus 4 science out of every building. And it's going to be... maybe I'll go hermetic order. We'll see.
Fast forward 72 hours from now, and he lands on a continent that doesn't have mountains.
Oh, shut
Oh,
up.
of course. I think he just needs hills. But I was thinking,
Yeah,
is like,
hills,
actually, you know what? Korea, hermetic order might be really good. It's like, let's see if Moy goes for 3.
Maybe I'll go hermetic order with Korea. But maybe I'll go 3 for 3 of absolutely hating it. So I don't know.
Maybe. Then you'll know, though. Maybe you'll get 2 ley lines in your empire or more. The
Oh,
other
okay.
slight modification we're going to make for this game as well is instead of having online speed, we're going to play quick speed. Online speed is double, so it's very, very double standard. Okay, very, very fast. Quick speed is 33% of standard, and I believe what this will result in is a 2-part game where very clearly there's not a winner at the end. I'm hoping that we'll end around the industrial era, maybe just before end of the Renaissance, and that this will result in a worthy modern game where we actually have the snowball of history backing us up, and we'll see maybe some nukes and not have Zoe cut it short because he wanted to go to bed.
Miss Daggers, who are you playing?
I was like, I'm like, are you guys gonna forget to let me
No,
choose who I was gonna do?
we always
Um,
do, but not this time. No.
yeah. I don't have like a really as defined play style, but I like to focus on growth and expansion. So why not? I decided to play as the Trajan, as the Roman Empire.
All
And
right.
so it's my second favorite Civ to play so far. Actually, probably gonna go down to three because I think Grand Columbia is really gonna like move up there. It's one of my favorite.
They're good.
Um,
They're fun.
and so I'm gonna be Trajan for the Roman Empire.
I think, guys, if you want to throw in your, not you guys, or viewers, and I use the guys as a generic term. If
Viewers,
you want to
listeners,
throw us ideas for like who you want to see us fight in this game, because we're going to choose 5 civilizations, go for it. I know Vector Cat's going to be like, you gotta have Scythia.
Georgia, you gotta put Georgia in there.
Sorry, Georgia.
Yeah, and
Watch Georgia be OP as a computer.
they're gonna have.
Maybe with-
They're like
so
India,
it's
where they
yeah,
just they
maybe
throw up so
vindicate
many
them.
apostles at you, man. So
maybe
many
with
apostles.
secret societies, maybe they're woo.
Maybe. But something else to note is that we are cutting down our Sunday sessions from 7 to 12 to 7 to 11. So we're cutting it down for an hour, but like Zoe said, we're making it a 2-weeker. So instead of it being a 1 5-hour session, it's going to be 2 4-hour sessions, resulting in 8 hours long. So that is going to be overall a longer game, which is also why we're trying quick speed instead of online speed. Those are the reasons behind all of that. But yeah, hopefully you guys are very excited for Sunday. I know I am, because it's like a free-for-all, but we also have opponents to bully, and they're going to be on deity, so maybe they might take one of us over, but it's up to us to help our other brethren to make sure they do not get eliminated from the game. Gentlemen,
Third last. You can get
As
eliminated
always.
third last.
As always, don't forget to check out our other social media spots: YouTube, Discord, Twitter, Instagram. And then also, as an announcement, after the Sunday's game, look out for the next video in the Better Know a Leader series. And Moy, did you want to announce your video?
yeah, I'll get there. At TheCivShow, by the way, and all the social medias. Yeah, I just finished editing today on the August 6th. I just finished editing my Conquests of Alexander scenario I played on deity. Very hard, by the way. I challenge anyone to play it and to send a screenshot of how far you got, because it is super difficult to play on deity. You have 37 turns to take over 26 cities. It's very hard. Yeah, so that'll be coming out probably by the time you're listening to this podcast. If it's not live, it's probably already out. So go on YouTube and check it out.
Excellent. And just as always, guys, if you want to get the more intimate connection where you get to see Zozo's amazing memes, I'm gaining levels apparently, join the Discord. It's where most of the conversation happens when we're not on camera or on the mic. Join our Discord and join the conversation. Get part of the community.
Yeah, we will see you guys on Sunday for the what are we calling on Sunday? The Royal Rumble, maybe.
I'm gonna stick with my old Big Game Hunters.
Big Game Hunter.
Big Game Hunters.
I like it. The Big Game Hunter. Tune in on Sunday. It's gonna be a great episode of the TheCivShow. Until then, we'll see you guys later. Have a good one.
Good night.
All right.